Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave, and I have two awesome cards to share with you today. The first card we're going to make features the Sip Sip Hooray bundle, and this is so much fun. So we've got a stamp set and coordinating dies that all work together, and we're going to create a really cute birthday card. So I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock for my card base, and then I'm going to create a cool background on a panel of 4x5 1/4 Flirty Flamingo cardstock. So I'll set that aside. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper to protect my work surface, and then I'm going to sponge this with some of our basic decorative masks. So I've got this mask, and I'm just going to position it over my card, kind of centered as best as I can. And then I'll take some Flirty Flamingo ink, and I'm going to use a makeup brush. These are just oval makeup brushes that I got on Amazon. You can also find them at walmart.com. The cheaper, the better. And I'm just going to sponge some ink going around the outside. We're not going to see the center, so I'm not even going to bother sponging that portion. So I like to hold my stencil if I can as I'm going around. And then when you remove the stencil, you have this beautiful pattern, and the packet comes with 4 different patterns, so they're really fun to use. So there is my background. I'll set that aside, and then actually I can adhere this to my card, so I'll use a little bit of liquid glue to do that. Okay, then I'm going to stamp my fabulous fancy drinks. I would like to call them foofy drinks because those are the kind of drinks that girls like, generally speaking. All right, so first of all, I'm going to start with the tall champagne flute, and I'm going to stamp all of these in basic gray. I wanted instead of using black, I wanted to use basic gray so the colors weren't just, too much. So I'll stamp the champagne flute first, then I'll add this glass right there, and then I'm going to stamp the martini glass on a scrap of cardstock like that. All right, now to fill these up with fabulous drinks, just take these little solid images and stamp them in there. So I've got Flirty Flamingo in this one, and then I'm going to do the champagne flute in Flirty Flamingo stamped off. So I stamped off that first layer of ink, and then what I have is a lighter shade, which is perfect. And then I'm going to take Calypso Coral for my other foofy drink, and then we'll just stamp that right in the center like so. So that makes it so easy to fill those drinks up. I'm also going to take on my scrap here and stamp the little lemon slice. I'm actually going to stamp off the ink so it's a little lighter, and then my cute little strawberry. Now to color these in, I'm going to use my Stampin' blends, and I've got Real Red Combo that I'm going to color that strawberry in with. So I'll go with the light all over. And then I went outside the lines just a little there. And then on the dark, I'm going to just kind of put some dots on here, kind of 2/3 of the way down. Then I'll also take my light cherry cobbler, so that's kind of like a shade darker, and I'll put more dots, and then I kind of have a ombre effect on my strawberry. I've got my light granny apple green for the green top. And by the way, all of the colors and products that I'm using you can find on my blog or in the description of this video, and the link to my blog post is in the description of this video for you. I've also got the Daffodil Delight combo. So I colored the inside in light, and then I'm just going to do the rind in dark, and that will give me a perfect lemon slice. And then I'm going to take these 3 pieces and die cut them with the coordinating dies. And oh, I just happen to have that done here. So I'll take my little martini glass and pop it up with some dimensionals. I'm going to use minis on these just because That glass is kind of skinny, especially at the bottom. And then we'll just pop this on right here, overlapping a little bit on our glass. I also want to add my sentiment, and one of the things I love about this set is the sentiments are so perfect to coordinate with these images. So I've got Sip Sip, and then I'm going to add Hooray, like so. And look at how fun that is. Now, of course, no drink is complete without the garnish. So I'll take my cute little strawberry and put a glue dot kind of at the base of the strawberry. Ooh, the last glue dot. And then we'll put it right there to garnish our martini. And then I'll take my lemon slice and garnish my other foofy drink here, like so. So really, really cute. Now I wanted to kind of pop this up onto my card a little bit. Or I'm sorry, I wanted to pop it up on my card, but I didn't want it to be too thick. So instead I just layered it on a skinny little layer of Whisper White. This piece is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then this piece is 3 3/8 by 4 3/8. So it's just a skinny little layer, but I think it kind of makes the card a little more complete. And then I can just adhere that right to my card. And then to finish, we're just going to stamp the sentiment on the inside, which again is one of the cute words that coordinates with this set. And it says, "Hope your big day is just one happy hour after another." And then you could even add one of these glasses. Let me quick clean it since it's got gray ink on there. And I'm going to even just stamp it off like that. So cute. Isn't that adorable? All right, for my next card, we're going to do a gorgeous, gorgeous card. This features the Christmastime is Here suite of products, which are new this month. And there's a stamp set, a set of framelits that coordinate, as well as printed paper, ribbon, and glitter enamel dots. So let me show you how I'm going to create that card. First of all, I'm starting with some watercolor paper that's 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus because I think that's the easiest way to stamp on watercolor paper. And all that I'm going to do is just line this up on my Stamparatus with my magnets. And I have that to position already. We're going to ink this up with Versamark, but we're also going to use our embossing buddy to get the best impression on that watercolor paper. So I'll just drop it on here and get that powder on there. That keeps from extra powder sticking, embossing powder sticking. Okay. So you can really get a good impression. So, press that down. You don't have to make the voices, but you can. It helps. Trust me, I have a lot of experience. Okay, so I'll take this off of my Stamparatus. And then I'm going to use some gold embossing powder. I like to put my gold embossing powder in these little Snapware containers because it makes it so much easier to just get that powder on and sprinkle off the excess in the little container here so I don't make a mess, although sometimes I do. But that's kind of a crafter's prerogative, isn't it? Okay, so that looks good. I always like to kind of give it a flick at the end just to make sure all the loose bits have come off. And then I can see, oh, all right, we're okay. Still good, don't worry. I can see I got a little bit of powder. So I'm just gonna take my pick your tool and that kind of just will pick up any excess bits of powder. So that's awesome. All right, I'll go ahead and heat emboss this. Okay, now to color this, I'm going to use my aqua painter. And I always like to have a little rag at my disposal for coloring this in and making it easier. I'm going to start with wetting down my flour a little bit because that's going to help those colors blend together nicely. I'm going to use kind of an interesting color palette here. I've got Rich Raspberry, Melon Mambo, Crushed Curry, Old Olive, and Soft Suede. And I'll start with my lightest color, which is Crushed Curry. And I'm just going to pick up some of that color and then put it down on my flour like so. And then I'm going to continue with some melon and rich raspberry. What I love about this is when those colors blend, you get a nice orangey color that forms. And of course, you've got the other colors that you'll see as well. Now, what I do like to make sure is that you can still see the individual colors when I'm doing this. So I don't want to blend them so much that I can't pick out the yellow, the pink, and eventually the rich raspberry. So every time you do this, you're going to get a slightly different look. But that's the case with watercolor in general. And you may need to add more color. But what I love is that it's just so pretty and the colors are just kind of blending on their own a bit. Now, my paper dried really quick. So I'm going to add some more water down again just to get the colors mixing. The other thing is that it will blend where there's water, but it won't go outside the lines of the embossing, which is really helpful, because we don't want any pink ink in our leaves and vice versa. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more crushed curry, pardon me, to this, and a bit more of the melon mambo. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to add just a little bit more color over here. And just color it till you're happy. Okay, I'm going to fill in the rest of the, oh, actually I have this flower to do too. I always forget about that one. So I'm going to start with some of my crushed curry. We'll add in some of our melon mambo and finish up with that rich raspberry. So pretty. Okay, so that looks fantastic. Oops, and then I'm going to come in with my greens and a little soft suede for the pine cones. Oh, I'm also going to do the berries and rich raspberries. I forgot that. Okay, so that looks fantastic. To finish this up, what we're going to do is take and stamp our sentiment and layer it up on our card and do a little embellishing. So my sentiment comes from the set Strong and Beautiful, and it is a great set with some really fun things in there, which I just love. I'm going to stamp this in Delicata ink, which is our our gold ink from the holiday catalog. The other thing I could have done was definitely stamp and emboss this ahead of time, but since when I made my original sample, I actually had put my whole card together before I added the sentiment. So that's just what I ended up doing, but it works. Okay, so I'll adhere this to my card. And I'm going to do liquid glue, but I'm also going to do a little snail. I generally don't use much snail, but it will help kind of adhere those watercolored bendy pieces to this foil. It kind of gets a little warped when you heat set and watercolor it. So that's how I decided to do that. Okay, so that looks fantastic. I'm going to fold my old olive card base in half. And then I'm going to embellish this with some of our gold shimmer ribbon, which is really pretty. Can you see the shimmer in that? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this around my 3 fingers, and I'm going to leave a couple inch tail on either side. So I'll wrap it around once and twice, and then I'll trim this off again with that same amount of a tail. And what I have here is like a double bow. Okay, to finish that up, I'm going to take another length, about that much, and I'll just tie this so it's nice and even, like as in centered, on the back side. And then what I'll end up with is that's creating the center of my bow, and then it gives me the second kind of tails for my bow. Okay, so that looks great. Now what I'm going to do is trim that one and this one at an angle, and then I'm going to use the other two to adhere it to my actual card by tucking it behind. Okay, so this just is a different take on a bow for your card, just to change things up. Okay, so then to adhere that, I'm going to put a glue dot in the center, and that will allow me to position it where I want it on my card. And then I'll put a glue dot on the ends of the 2 ribbon pieces so that I can wrap it behind. Okay, so I've got it kind of right there. And then, like I said, we'll put that around one side and this around the other. And there is our beautiful bow. And sometimes this gets out of place a little bit, so you just bring it back. Okay. Finally, there we go. Looks fantastic. I will adhere this to my card directly. And that is one beautiful card. There's one other thing I could do. I didn't do this on my sample, but I think it would be pretty, is to take some of my clear Wink of Stella and just do a little spritzing, or just smacking my clear Wink of Stella on here, and then it gives me little spritzes of shimmer, which you can kind of see on there like that. So thank you so much for watching this. I do have an online class for this beautiful new suite coming this month. So if you would like to register for that, I'll have the link in the description of this video as well. But I hope that you loved my 2 fun cards and that you'll give them a try. Thank you guys so much for stamping with me today. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.